Hi, I'm Betsy Rosenfeld with the Center for Governmental Studies. This is Proposition Preview 2008. Here with me right now is Glenn Backus with the No on 9 campaign. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
First step, why should Californians vote no on Prop 9?
Proposition 9 is difficult. You almost feel bad voting no. It's being sold as a Victims' Rights Act. But in fact, most of the victims' provisions duplicate existing law. The problem that our coalition has with Proposition 9 is that there are portions in the 15-page Act which would tie the hands of local, county, and state government and put hundreds of millions of dollars every year into jails and prisons.
Can you specify, just so, because we're clarifying on both sides, what the problems are?
There's a section in Proposition 9 that says that you cannot release one person from a local jail or a state prison early to address overcrowding. Doesn't matter how petty their crime is, and it doesn't matter how bad the budget is crippled. It says you can't release one. That, according to the Independent Legislative Analyst's Office, is going to cost hundreds of millions of dollars a year. And that is our primary problem. Some of the victims' provisions, some of the small ones, could be appropriately done through the legislature. But as a package, Proposition 9 should be a non-starter for voters, because in an environment where our budgets are stretched so thin and so many important programs are being cut, including children's health care, schools, care for the elderly, all things are being cut. Now is not the time to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on a proposition that doesn't solve problems, creates new ones, and costs hundreds of millions of dollars.
You spoke about a coalition on the no on Prop 9. Can you tell me a few?
Yes, it's a very broad coalition, and again, we are respectful of the victims' rights groups that are supporting the other side, but the California Teachers Association, California Federation of Teachers, the California Professional Firefighters, the California Nurses Association, and others, including civil rights groups and taxpayer organizations like the Orange County Taxpayers Association and the Kern County Taxpayers Association, quite a broad group, just say it's not written well. It's going to create new problems and cost hundreds of millions of dollars. Some small things in there we could support next year through legislation, but as a package, it's hundreds of millions of dollars mess. And like I said, it ties your local sheriff's hands, your local county board of supervisors' hands, it ties local and state government's hands, saying you cannot address overcrowding. It will not be legal if this is passed.
How would you address your opponents on this measure? So it would be the Yes on Prop 9 campaign.
The proponents of Prop 9, with due respect, are asking us to support hundreds of millions of dollars in new jail and prison spending and taking the power away from the local sheriff, the local board of supervisors, and the state government to manage their prisons, asking taxpayers to spend more on prisons and more on jails at a time when we're having to cut other things that are of great importance, including taking care of Meals on Wheels. That was just cut. That feeds my neighbors who are old and hungry. There's a lot on the line right now. The budget crisis is ongoing. It's been going on for years. It's going to go on this year. We can't tie up hundreds of millions of dollars in an act that will not, in fact, solve problems.
You've touched on this a little bit, but let's lay out the arguments against Prop 9 for the viewers.
Primarily that the victims' rights elements of the bill mainly duplicate existing law. That the section that requires that no one be released, no matter how small their crime, to address overcrowding is going to cost hundreds of millions of dollars. That's simply a mistake. The sections of the law that make it harder for people to return for parole consideration, it's going to cost money to keep people longer. And to not even provide them the opportunity every couple of years to have their case reviewed is going to lead to problems in the prison system, not just costs, but safety issues as well.
So finally, the biggest impact on California if Prop 9 passes or doesn't pass, what do you see?
The biggest impact if Prop 9 passes is cuts in children's services, elder services, fire protection, and other vital services. That's the biggest impact. It's not going to do a lot of good in the lives of families and the lives of communities, but it's going to do a lot of harm in other parts of our budget that are important to families and communities.
Glenn Backus, thank you for joining us, and best of luck on Election Day.
Thanks a lot.